Well, for the last 3 years, Naracoorte residents have fought to save the town's old convent. During the battle, they discovered a novel technique to save old buildings. Leah McLennan reports it's come too late to save the convent, but could be used to save other historic buildings from demolition.
The Naracoorte convent is 106 years old. It may look like it could go on for another century, but it's unlikely to see its 107th birthday.
The committee is bitterly disappointed that we haven't been able to achieve our goal of saving the building. We believe that demolition is probably imminent. That's in the hands of the developers.
La Urana House was built in 1903 as a convent for the Sisters of Mercy. It's now owned by developers who want to demolish it to make way for an extension of the King Craig shopping centre and car park. Fred Stater and Mayor Ken Grundy are members of the Friends of the Convent. The committee was formed about 3 years ago when the community caught wind of plans to demolish the building.
We became aware that excavators have moved into Naracoorte, and there's quite a public rally, about 200 people, and we protested quite strongly that so they shouldn't demolish the convent. And then shortly after that we formed the Friends of the Convent Committee, and we've been struggling now for 3 years to try and save the building from demolition, following the approval that was granted to the developer to extend their local shopping centre.
Well, it was soon after I was elected as mayor actually. The Friends of the Convent was formed just a few months after, and another councillor and myself joined that committee to see if we could save the building. Personally, I quite like all old buildings. If they're in good repair especially, I'd like to see them saved if possible.
Yeah, these are, I guess, some examples of some...
The Friends of the Convent were soon provided with an idea in the form of Matthew Manifold. He says he heard about the convent's plight through the National Trust.
I like old buildings, personally, away from business interests. I think it's a nice building. It's a well-built building. If you have a walk around it, it's in very good structural condition. There's hardly a crack. I don't think there is a crack in that building if you walk through it.
Matthew Manifold's idea involved picking up the building and putting it on an entirely different site. Matthew Manifold's company, Mammoth Movers, has done it before. In 2007, it moved the heritage-listed Hornsby signal box in New South Wales to make way for a rail expansion. Mr Manifold learnt the trade in the United States of America, where he says moving buildings weighing hundreds of tonnes is a common occurrence.
Basically, we excavate underneath the building first up, and as we dig out the soil underneath the building, we then use props and hold the building up. We knock out the footings and go underneath the foundation if it's a slab foundation. We then put in our steel, and we use hydraulic jacks which raise the whole building up level all at the same time. It's using a system called a unified jacking system, so that it all goes up together. Then we bring in the dollies. They're basically the tyres. They've got hydraulic rams, vertical rams in the centre of them, and they get all plumbed up together hydraulically, and ultimately the building then floats on oil. So if the wheels go into a hole in one area, the jacks self-level so that you maintain a plane, and the building goes along level and doesn't twist, turn and crack.
Well, there she is, Fred.
That's the building, Ken?
Yes.
What could have been, hey?
Could have been, yeah. Lovely to see the wheels.
Unfortunately for the Friends of the Convent, their campaign doesn't have a happy ending. They weren't able to raise the funds needed to move the building, and their last-ditch effort for a grant from the federal government's Jobs Fund was unsuccessful. They've now given up the fight.
We've handed back our cash donations. We've let people know that pledged donations, that their pledges will no longer be required, and the committee's activities will wind up at the end of December, and there's not much more we can do, unfortunately.
The developer, Perks Property Investments, says it worked with the community and exhausted all other options before deciding to go ahead with the demolition. It says work is likely to start early next year. While it's too late for the convent, it has spurred the council into action. It's now drawing up a list of other buildings that could be given heritage status.
Well, certainly sectors of the community feel very strongly that Naracoorte would lose a building of quite some significance. Unfortunately, it hasn't been locally listed under heritage. It was recommended about 25 years ago that that be done, but successive councils sort of didn't act on that.
I think this and other examples have probably brought it home to us that there are a lot of places in the district that are not having any heritage listing, and so we're presently drawing up a list with an advisor, and that's in the process of fulfilment.
Matthew Manifold says in the United States, people often consider moving a building before they consider demolishing it. He says South Australia has missed many opportunities to save valuable buildings, such as the Karalta Park Surgery, which was demolished for the Gallipoli underpass, and this bluestone at Pulteney Grammar, which the school tore down after receiving money for a new building as part of the federal government's stimulus spending. Mr Manifold says while he has a financial interest in the concept, as a lover of old buildings, he has two good reasons to want the idea to take off.
It doesn't make sense for every house, it only makes sense for good quality houses, but if you actually, as I say, look through the demolition registers and then you have a look at some of the buildings that have been knocked down, you scratch your head wondering why.